They're beautiful. I love this color.
But he got them from my yard.
You got them from Those are gorgeous. Thank you, thank you.
Isn't it?
Thank you, John,
Color is
too.
Pretty.
Beautiful. I love this color. Isn't that pretty? Whew, very pretty. Thank you. So, somebody said yesterday we made sandwiches,
Oh,
and we had,
Hearing aid stopped working, so I had to take it out.
3 children and their parents helping make sandwiches. They did a great job. They made 164 sandwiches. And, so they did a very good job, but somebody said, well, I bet church will be packed tomorrow because it's Mother's Day, and I said, yeah, unless everybody's left town to go see their mother. Then it won't be back. So anyway, so Mother's Day is kind of a funny thing. I read online about the lady that invented Mother's Day. I mean, she's the one that said we should have a day to honor, and she got rather angry after that because she didn't want it to be commercialized. She just wanted it to be a day to honor mothers. And they said she was in some restaurant and somebody gave her a salad called Mother's Day salad, and she got up and threw it on the ground. Because she didn't want, and so they said if she was alive today, she'd probably be happy. It's still popular, but she probably wouldn't be happy because it's so commercial. But anyway, I think I said this in my letter too, but Mother's Day is one of those weird days because for some people it's not a very happy day, and for some people who had not great examples of mothers or want to be a mother and can't be, or all those many things, it's not a happy day. But what I always like to say is there's usually someone in our life who has been like a mother to us, nurturing, loving, faithful. May not be our mother, and actually it could be your daddy, but it's somebody that has been that kind of person to you. And I did a funeral one time for this man, and his father, his mom, and this guy would now be in his hundreds, I guess. And back then, women didn't run off with another man very often. I mean, that was kind of an unusual thing. And his mom ran off with a famous artist and left the dad with 5 children. And the youngest was like 6 months old. And I think that eventually she did come back and get the baby. But anyway, the dad never remarried. He took care of those kids. They didn't have a lot of money, but he felt very strongly it was his job to take care of the kids. And he said, the man that I did the funeral for, said that from the day she left, she was never spoken of again. And he said, I don't mean she was spoken of a little bit. She was never spoken of again in our home. And but anyway, the dad took great responsibility and took it seriously. So that's why I'm saying it could be a father. It could be it doesn't necessarily mean it's a woman. So I thought today I'd give you an opportunity it may be your mother, it may be your birth mother, to say something about a person in your life who has been like a mother to you, maybe a good friend who nurtures you and is faithful and encouraging. So somebody tell us about Julia?
My mom was awesome, totally awesome.
She had a pass full of kids too, didn't she?
Huh?
She had a pass full of kids too, didn't
Yeah,
she?
six kids.
6 kids.
And my two oldest sisters are developmentally handicapped. Kathy, the oldest, is at 6-year-old level, and Teresa's at 16.
Can you hear her back there? Everybody can hear? Okay, I just want to be sure they can hear you.
And my sister Mary, who is the middle child, we always considered her mother hen, but she took on a lot of responsibility because Mom needed to spend a lot of time with Kathy and Teresa. And so I'm going to give her a call today and let her know that, because she taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And things that, simple things, but they were important things that Mom wasn't able to at the time. She would have, because she had bipolar also.
Oh, okay.
And so, she had a lot on her plate. And my sister Mary, was just always there for me.
Oh, that's neat. That's great. Okay, sister, somebody else. Yes. Rhonda?
My mom, I'm the oldest, I was the oldest.
Of how many?
Five children.
Oh, 5 children, okay.
And, my mom was just 17 when she had me,
Wow.
so we like to say that, we grew up together.
Uh-huh.
She told me that one time, she said, I was not a good mother to you. But I lost her last year.
Oh, okay.
Last September. And, but we butted heads, cause we couldn't communicate.
Uh-huh.
And, she would, tell me, oh, you can be anything you want to be. And I said, well, I wanna fly. And she said, you can do that. And so I jumped out of a tree. It was.
You found out she was wrong.
Yeah, I found out she was wrong. I couldn't trust her after that. But my aunt in North Carolina, on my dad's side, she never lied to me. And she was like a second mother, and she couldn't have any children.
She never, what'd you say, she never what?
Lied to me.
She didn't like
She
you?
lied to me.
Oh, lied to you. Oh, okay.
But, she'd say, well, in other words, she'd say, you can do anything if you work at it. Get an education. So-
My dad said you can be anything you want to be if you have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, but anyway, my mom we came to an agreement at the end of her life, taking care of my aunt who had breast cancer. And, so, we told each other we loved each other.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad we did that.
I'm glad you did too.
And when she died, I couldn't go I couldn't go over there because my doctor said I couldn't travel. And, she was, dying.
Uh-huh.
And I read her, I said, Mom, I was on the phone, I said, would you like me to read from Matthew's Bible? And that was my brother that we lost.
Oh, okay.
In 2009, and, she said yes. And, so I read her the prayer, Psalms 23.
Uh-huh.
And her breathing calmed down, and I think she went peacefully.
Oh.
She was a God-fearing woman.
So you were there, you just couldn't be in person, but
Yes.
you were there.
I couldn't take care of her physically.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had 2 moms.
You had 2 moms, well, you're lucky. All right, somebody else. Somebody like a mother. Could be your mother, could be somebody else.
I guess as you know, I had several mothers.
Yeah.
My biological mother.
Now, you had a pretty darn good biological mother.
Oh, I had a great biological mother. I'm not gonna argue that, but, and you've heard me. I'm sure several of you heard, I have dyslexia, so it was real hard for me going through school, but there were several, people, Mary Hyde, Nancy Thurman, a lot of people that were in the education, because they didn't know what to do with us, that found places to help me get through school to be who I am now. So they would help my mom, and then they would say, well, you need to take Michelle here, Child Study Center, you need to take her here. And so they all kind of pitched in and helped and watched. And then after my mom died, some of those were still alive. And I kind of watched them, and then they watched me to make sure I didn't blow up.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you were diagnosed with dyslexia, nobody really knew that much about it. So.
No, they didn't. They didn't know what to do. Now there's all kinds of stuff out
Yeah.
there. There's a lady on TikTok that talks about it now.
Yeah.
I just even has a book. So I was back 69, 70s, and so they were all like, well, she can't read, she can't do this, but yet she can do this. So there were not many places to send you, but I had a good support group that helped mom and figured out where I could go and how I could get through high school. So.
What I heard was that when you first went to school, that your mom went with you and she would take notes and come home and reteach it to you, what the teacher said. Pretty good mom. All right, somebody else. It's people that nurture us and encourage us and love us, no matter what.
Well, I had two moms too. I was adopted.
Oh, okay.
My adopted mom and I struggled through, my coming out.
Ah,
But I also knew my birth mother. I'd known her since I was 5,
okay.
and she never would, when I was young, while my adopted mother was alive, would not do anything to motherly toward me,
Oh,
because she promised my adopted mom that she would not do that until I became of age, basically. So we ended up having a very good relationship after
oh,
my adopted mom died.
that's good.
And now both are gone.
And now, oh, both are gone, yeah. Well, that is a good, I like that. You know, oftentimes that story doesn't end well,
No, it doesn't.
but I'm thrilled that you were able to have a good, that's good.
And my adopted mom was 51 when she got me.
Oh, whoa.
I was 6 months old.
Oh, whoa. No wonder she. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty late in life to get a baby.
Yes.
Kid at 51.
Yeah.
You're starting your second.
You're ready for,
You're starting your life
grandchildren.
over.
Ready for grandchildren.
Well,
Your second child, and you start.
right, she didn't have any other children. She had miscarried once and never was able to have a child, so.
Wow.
So she was probably thrilled to have you.
I'm sure she was.
Maybe she just didn't know quite what to do. That's an interesting story. Thank you for sharing. Somebody else? Mother? Like a mother? How many of you, your mom's still living? Anybody? Linda, I know yours is. Holly? Anybody else? Okay. It seems to me, we could vote on this, but it seems to me that, no matter what your mother was like, even if they weren't quite so nourishing and all those words, it's still hard when they're gone, when they die. Julia?
My mom passed away when she was 70, in 2007. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there when she passed. But I've been blessed because, I'll be walking behind a person and it looks just like mom. I mean, it'll give me just a visual, real quick one until they turn around, and be able to see mom.
In her, yeah.
Every day. So, to me, it's a blessing to get a chance to see her again.
Yeah.
I never saw her when she had chemo and had died of pancreatic cancer. And so I only remember her at her best.
At her best, yeah. Yeah, okay.
I was with my mom when she died.
You were, was that here in Florida?
In Pasadena,
In Pasadena?
Texas.
Texas, okay.
So it was rough.
Yeah, that's hard. Was she a good mom?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is hard.
yeah, she told me that I needed to get an education because I wasn't gonna be able to do anything else. Because marrying a husband and just being relaxed was not a thing to do,
Right.
so.
She wanted you to have a way to support yourself. I think that probably a lot of our parents were in the same generation, and I think that was something that was real, a big deal of, they had worked hard to, to have the necessities of life, to have a better life than they had had, and they wanted their kids to have a better life, and I think they worked hard to make sure that happened. And,
Well, isn't that what all parents or mothers want for their children?
Well,
Even
yeah.
You know, even the generations now where we have
Right.
decent jobs and decent education, they all want their children to have better lives.
first generation that won't be true. That's not gonna be true.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm just looking at.
No, I'm just saying right now, I was reading this study and it said that I think it's like when I say the generation now, I assume they mean, what, teens, 20s, will be the first generation that won't most likely have a better lifestyle, if you wanna judge it by material and all those things, than their parents.
Oh, really?
So.
Yeah, because of, the cost of everything, and it's just, there's such a wider difference gap between,
Yeah.
you know, what is possible to have anymore and, you know, what reality is. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
That was, you know, always something my mom, I guess by virtue of the generation she grew up in, the Depression and stuff, she always, you know, I guess because I was a teenager in my young 20s, I didn't have all those caution flags back in my past, but she always cautioned me about, you know, spending too much, make sure your credit is good. Don't depend on some husband or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
And, you know, for heaven's sakes, yes, it was always, since I was in, you know, earliest I can remember, she always was drilling in my head, you'll go to college, you
Yeah.
can be anything you wanna be. But, you know, she didn't have the guidance to give me of, you know, well, how do you be that?
Right.
I loved
Right.
biology, but I didn't know what I could be in that, so, you know.
Needed somebody to.
Yeah.
Well, we did Jack Cheney's funeral on Thursday, and Jack was 88. He worked at his job, the Star Telegram. He was in the accounting department for 46 years. And he got a job right out of high school there, and then when the war came, he got drafted. He was in the military 2 years and went right back to that job, same job. Well, today, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that's been at a job 46 years.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, people, and as a matter of fact, you know, I can remember when I first started looking at jobs, and they would say, well, if you had too many jobs, they thought something was wrong. And nowadays, they wonder why you've been in the same job for so long.
In the environment of jobs, or I guess you'd say the modern personality of jobs,
Right.
is that, it's almost like they would call you out.
Yeah.
Texas Instruments is a place that I worked for about, I guess, 7 years cumulatively. But, they had a 10% rule, and if you couldn't stay in that, I don't know, that top 10%, and they would move the variables. So that was interesting,
That is
that they could, if they saw that you were there for so long or something, and, you know, they started to kind of quibble with you, it's very strange.
Yeah, it's a different world than the one that most of our parents grew up in, and
Well, I remember when I first started out the railroad, some of the older guys got ready to retire, they had 47, 42. And I came home and I said to Mom, I said, I can't believe this guy's got 42 years and he's retiring from the railroad, because I'd been laid off. And she goes, Well, yeah, but look at your grand, talking about her dad that had 40 years with AT&T, the phone company.
Uh-huh.
You know, when they hired him out of high school, that's where he stayed. I said, remember going to Jim's retirement party, he had like 40 years with the phone company. And she goes, yeah, you're not used to it because of the layoffs now.
Mhm.
And-
Well, and two, I know, I've done funerals for people. One guy, they got a job out of high school and started at the bottom and worked their way up, and he was like a vice president by the time he died, or retired.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens as much as it used to.
No, they hand them out to, college degree
Right,
people
people-
that can pass this test
More
and haven't
educated.
even known how to run a train or
Yeah.
start a box car, but yet they know how to make this company money, Katie Farmer and Reverend.
There you
All they
go.
give you now, when you spend 30 years there, here's your certificate, glad you managed to stay 30 years.
That's it?
That's it, no party, no nothing.
Corporations don't wanna pay benefits.
Right,
Right.
Well,
I
right.
retired from AT&T.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I have older friends, like, that have been there for 40 years, and there used to be a family, they tell me.
Exactly.
And,
Texas Instruments used to have a very, family feel about it, like it was an employee, everybody felt friendly with each other, but then, Jerry Junkins for the longest time was the CEO of Texas Instruments, and then he died, and, other guy took over, Tom Ingabus, we always, changed his name to Tom Indabus, because we knew he did not like the defense segment of Texas Instruments, which was kind of like the stabilizing rudder.
Mhm.
You know, to off-balance the volatility of the semiconductor stuff, it stayed pretty much stable, and that's exactly what happened to us. Our jobs first turned into, contract jobs. And as a contractor, of course, you're not, you know, you don't have any vacation, sick time, it's all just straight money, no benefits.
Mhm.
And it's pretty vicious, you know, a friend of mine, I didn't survive the layoff, but she survived the layoff, but it was an awful survival though, because she, was laid off, but then hired by the contracting company at same, you know, the same position, same seat and everything, but half her salary.
Mm, goodness.
And that was, and you felt lucky that you had
You had a job.
your job.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
had a friend that,
I guess your jobs are a lot of times your mother.
Yeah, there
They
you go.
raise you.
That's right.
when I got laid off at General Dynamics, and I don't know if I ever told you this story, but mother, we had, everybody in Fort Worth practically worked at General Dynamics. Nobody in the Winder family worked at General Dynamics. And I got the job at General Dynamics, and Mom looked at me and said, well, you just ruined this family. But I had so much pride of saying, nobody in this family worked at General Dynamics till you went to work. But anyhow, one of my friends retired and invited me back for the party, 42 years. And I said something, and I was going, wow, 42 years at, you know, on the Convair, and then it went to Lockheed.
Right.
40, or what, I just say whatever the heck it is now. But 42 years at a company, and I was like, wow, you know. I managed to stay 30, but I just get a certificate, but yeah.
There you go. Very good. Shirley, we're talking about, people who've been like a mother to us, like nurturing, faithful, loving. Maybe your mother of birth, maybe not. Maybe somebody else. And,
I've been a mother to my Mildred.
there you go.
Deathly afraid of thunderstorms and everything, but by God, I'll protect her and have her right next to me in the living room and through the whole storm and everything. And she'll come and walk on my face and everything else, just, otherwise she's fearless.
Little dog.
Is it a dog?
Yeah.
We have a cat that decides I need to get up and comes
She's,
walks out.
well, she's the same way too. She'll be, you know, like, up close to me, and then she'll like pick her head up once she hears, like, is that thunder? Mom, did you hear that?
She basically is so independent and everything, but when it's thunder, then all of a sudden I'm the one to be
Yeah.
So we're talking about people that have been like a mother to you. So who is somebody that you've been like a mother to, even if you didn't give birth to them? Who's someone that you have kind of taken under your wing in some ways and been caring and nurturing and that thing? Anybody? To someone else?
To my niece Ruth Ann. She,
Okay.
my sister, we're like twins, but Ruth Ann wasn't quite sure. She came out to me before she did to Mom. I told her, Mom will be fine.
Yeah.
She'll totally accept you, and just, I helped her through the whole period of time until she could tell her mom, and then it was like, you know, she was waiting for this big moment, and I said, you know, Mom's gonna love you no matter what.
Right.
She knew that her grandpa would have an issue, but her mom, you know, she wasn't totally sure. And my son told me ahead of time that she was a lesbian. And so it gave me a chance to break the ice for her and let her know. She had come here a couple times. She's getting married, and she may get married here in a couple years. She's working for the veterans now, and so is her fiance.
All right, so somebody else, somebody you've mothered in a way, that you've kind of been a mentor for in some ways.
At the bagel shop, I had many teenagers.
I bet you did.
Many parents said thank you for raising my child.
Yeah.
Because they would be there all through high school, 4 years.
Yeah.
And there were 3 sets of teenagers that met and married, and so I
Oh,
have
wow.
3 grandchildren from those unions.
Oh, wow.
They stay in touch with me.
I think that's very cool. And I figured you might say your nephew.
Yeah.
Tell them about your nephew.
Nash.
Uh-huh.
My nephew Nash has Down syndrome. He'll be, he's fixing to finish his junior year of high school, but he'll be a senior next year, and his sister will be a freshman. But he's a photographer, and he photographs high school sports in his high school in Franklin, Texas. Franklin High in Franklin, Texas, which is near Hearn. ESPN wrote an article about him recently, and his school has supported him, and he's just a great dude.
I read about that.
Yeah. Does take amazing pictures.
Oh yeah, he does. He captures people because they're looking at him and smiling, because he's not judging them. He loves them, and they know it. And so just every photo he takes, people are just themselves. They're candid, and just he captures moments that perhaps another photographer might miss.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, somebody else you feel like you've mentored in some way, that you've been there for them and helped them along. Because it's really true that I think it's an African saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and it's really true. Parents can't be everything to every child. I mean, they do their best a lot of times, but we need other people along the way as well. And it's the same way in any relationship. In a marriage relationship, you can't be everything to somebody that you're married to. We need other people as well. And so there are people that come along at some point in our life, like a season of our lives, and maybe help us over some rough spots, and you know, encourage us and mentor us, and the same is true for what we do for some people that come along who are new, maybe at work, or new into the family, or new, you know, wherever, and you are the person that, accepts, like Julia was saying, that will accept them no matter what and welcome them. And so it's really important that we have those people in our lives, and that we, and maybe for you, that Julia mentioned about coming out, for many people it's so hard, and maybe that's somebody that you knew would accept you no matter what. That, you know, no matter if you told them who you really were, or whatever, they're gonna still love you and accept you. And,
She always considered me her fun mom.
her fun mom, there you go. Yeah, moms can't be, you know, grandparents are a lot more fun, because when you're the parent, it's really hard, sometimes, but, you know, the grandparents, we can be more fun and do fun things, and,
Send them home.
and send them home, yeah. Send them home. So it says, I saw this card, and it said parents spend, what did it say? I don't remember how many years trying to help their kids grow up and be these responsible, all these things, and grandparents just shoot it all away. Fell swoop. So, but it's good to have those kind of people that take great delight in you. And Parker Palmer said that every child needs one person that thinks they are just the most special person in the world. They need one person that just, you know, smiles when they see them coming, and just one person. And so we can be those people for children or other adults who don't have that. So I think Mother's Day is a good day from the standpoint of remembering to pay attention to the people that seem like they need that kind of encouragement or a good word or whatever, because sometimes that doesn't get noticed, and so it's important to pay attention to that. Today is also Ascension Sunday, which Ascension Sunday is on the church, not our church, big church, calendar. It's not a day that gets a lot of press. I mean, I didn't grow up ever hearing of Ascension Sunday, and in my church, but if you were in a Catholic church or Episcopal church or some of those, you might have grown up hearing of Ascension Sunday. And so it's the day when Jesus, after Jesus was resurrected and was with the disciples, and then left the earth, went away. And so I think it's got something to teach us as well. So any questions, comments, last words?
Where's your cup from?
Oh, thank you for saying that. This cup is, I've used it before, but it's from San Francisco, which is one of my favorite cities and where we lived. Here's a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. So if you went across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco you would go to Marin County, and we lived, some of you may have heard of Sausalito. Anybody heard of Sausalito? Well, the first town when you go across the bridge is Sausalito, and the next town is Mill Valley, and that's where we lived. But I will tell you something interesting about the Golden Gate Bridge, just a little trivia. We were there when the 50th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge happened. So until the bridge was built, people that lived on the San Francisco side or the Marin side had to take a ferry across to the other side until the bridge was built. Well, it's a suspension bridge, so it moves. And I think I've heard it move 6 to 8 feet, it will move. And anyway, so on the 50th anniversary, we had this huge celebration. And so what they said, you know, if you live on the Marin side or the San Francisco side, then come and we're gonna meet in the middle. And they had bands, and it was gonna be this big thing. And so the kids and I, Terry didn't wanna go, the kids and I was on a Sunday, decided we would go. And we went with some friends, and so it was just, it's too long to tell some of the story, but it's quite an interesting story, actually. But anyway, so we get to the Marin side, and we're walking along, you see people you know, and you're waving, and it's not packed, and I thought, this is just great, you know, it's just wonderful. And so we get close to the middle, and it is like we hit a wall. There were people, just people, you could not even, we got lost from our group, and I mean, and the bridge has a little bit of the floor of the bridge has a little, raised sort of rounded, and the bridge actually flattened out that day. There are pictures of it because of all the weight on the bridge. And it was you could feel it moving, so it was kind of like you had to, you know, walk. And so there were more than 100,000 people on the bridge that day. And I have a picture at my house, I should bring it sometime, of the bridge on that day. And, but it was quite a memorable experience. It was quite a big celebration. And there were people on the bus taking us to where we would get onto the bridge. And I remember a man who had been there when the bridge was built, and he was back for the 50th anniversary. And so anyway, it was quite a interesting time. And anyway, fun to be there. Moment in history. All right, I'll see you guys in worship. And thank you for the roses. They are gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I do like flowers.